The Institute of Mortgage Brokers and Lenders of Nigeria has called for adherence to professionalism to sanitize the sector and enable it to contribute to the gross domestic product of the country. Registrar of the Institute, Mr. Jasper Adeleye, made the call at the National Mortgage and Real Estate Conference in Abuja. The conference, with the theme "Towards the Sustainable Mortgage and Real Estate Industry in Nigeria," is organized by the Institute and supported by relevant stakeholders.
I think it's a good one. At least let's showcase what we have and to see how we can ensure professionalism in the system and to bring out the quality of what we have in ourselves and to sell our product to those who are practicing, who are quacks, who are not really licensed, to tell them that there's a regulatory body on ground. And I think this is one of the things we want to showcase for the first time. In Nigeria, when you talk about regulation, we have a lot of agents that practice in this country. We have a lot of people who build estates. We have a lot of people who, if you cast your mind back just a few months ago when there was a flood in Nigeria, now there's some houses that collapsed, but if there were professionals in that area who talks about the sales before the end users, now those professionals will not allow such thing to happen. So right about now, I think we want to see how we can streamline the estate agent, the estate brokers, the estate developers, the mortgage practitioners, and all those who are in the fields of mortgage and real estate, so we can work together. Apart from oil business, talk about communication, the next you should talk about is mortgage. Talk about real estate. This is where the country can actually drive its GDP from. So I think I still call on the professionals and still call on people to still come onto this field so that we can actually work and let this industry move forward.
Similarly, a fellow of the Institute, Mr. Ayodele Thomas, said a lot of people do not understand the concept of mortgage.
A lot of people do not really understand the concept of mortgage. And what we are out to do is to really break it down to everybody, to know that you don't have to have all of the money to buy a house before you can live in a house. So mortgage is supposed to be an enabler that will provide the opportunity for everyone to own a home. It's not a death sentence, it's not a criminal offense, it's a human right to own a home. And we all know that it's impossible for most people to have all of the money to buy a house or own a home. So what mortgage does is it helps to bridge the gap of homeownership for every Nigerian, which is a fundamental human right. The essence of the Institute is basically to bring in regulations, control mechanism that will ensure that every practitioner, first and foremost, is educated, licensed, and understands the implication of criminality in the industry. Right now, what you have an industry that does not really have laid down rules and procedures. And where there are no rules, there cannot be any offense. So our institute will come up with several regulations that will shut out all the quacks in the industry, and those who are looking at this area to commit crimes will not be accepted or permitted to practice in the industry.
In the same vein, a participant and lecturer from Nasarawa State University, Professor Uche Uwaleke, said the mortgage industry had a lot of potential.
Mortgage industry in Nigeria has a lot of potentials, but unfortunately it's not growing as one would expect. Given the size of the country, given the population, over 200 million people, the housing deficit in this country today is huge, at over 17 trillion. And then you're looking at the mortgage to GDP ratio in Nigeria is one of the lowest in sub-Saharan Africa. So how do we change narrative? One of the ways by which we can change narrative is to even ensure that we have more professionals, playing in the sector. Because again, part of the challenge we are facing in that sector is the shortage of professionals, and the fact that unfortunately too, a lot of unethical practices are also going on. So you need professionals who are ethically conscious, to operate in that sector, which is why my presentation, focused on how to also build partnerships between industry and the academia, such that we can even have mortgage finance as a course, in the university, especially at the PG level. Okay, with such courses mainstreamed into university curricula, you tend to have more awareness. You tend to also have build, maybe a large, sizable number of professionals working in that sector. So essentially, I was talking about how we can also get the academia to support the growth of the housing sector, in Nigeria generally.